Hello there, welcome to Football on 5. We have a full house for you tonight, all 35 and a bit matches from across the EFL. We'll explain that over the weekend, and 97 goals as well.
And we're joined tonight by Chris Iwelumo, and alongside him, former Derby County defender Shaun Barker, who last night made an emotional comeback after 4.5 years recovering from a knee injury, coming on for Burton Albion in the biggest night in the club's league history against Derby. Are you still on a high after last night, Shaun?
I am, yeah. It was quite an emotional moment for me. 4.5 years of hard work, graft, and to get on the pitch one more time, it has been, you know, a funny day or so.
We'll talk more about that comeback and, of course, the game as well. Absolutely unbelievable a night it was at Burton last night. But first, let's tell you what's coming up tonight.
A big Saturday night on the Toon. Promotion favourites Newcastle and Brighton met at St James's.
Might fancy a crack here. Oh, my goodness!
Two clubs trying to kickstart their challenge, Cardiff versus Reading.
Wilson's dropped it. It should be a tap-in. How on earth has Behrens not scored for Reading?
And could Huddersfield maintain their unlikely, to some, tenure at the top of the Championship?
And we start with the big game in the Sky Bet Championship at St James's Park, where Newcastle face Brighton. 3
wins in a row in League and Cup had seen Rafa Benitez bring a few long-lost smiles back to Geordie faces, while Chris Hughton's Brighton were themselves unbeaten in the Championship so far. Your commentators for this one, David Prutton and Daniel Mann.
Chancel and Bemba. A loose one. Shelby able to seize upon it. Murray in hot pursuit. And Kayal as well, but he'll evade it. Well, referee Keith Stroud bringing it back for an earlier foul on Shelby as he danced away from Kayal and Murray.
Nice feet from John Joe Shelby, gets himself at a very, very tight corner.
Well, Ritchie poised to wrap his foot around this, and there's some good targets too for Newcastle. With an absolutely stunning header to bring Newcastle the breakthrough. Here's Diame. Anita looking to get in behind. Out to Dummett. That's threatening Ritchie. Shelby steaming in on it. Oh, where's it going to drop? Oh, Lewis dunk to safety. But Newcastle really have got the bit between their teeth now. Gouffran. You might fancy a crack here. Oh, my goodness! Well, that certainly rattled Brighton's cage. The sheer venom of it. Here's Gouffran. Here's Shelby. Might open up for Shelby here. Oh, Jame getting his foot on it. Ritchie!
Really good play by Diame. Does end up being at the feet of Matt Ritchie, and then his unfavoured right foot, therefore it goes straight out Stockdale instead of if it's on his left foot. I think that's buried in the bottom corner.
Anita to drift it. Oh! Well, Gouffran on the end of it again. Another chance comes Newcastle's way, another chance passes them by. Sidwell to hook it on. Jamal Lascelles. Knockaert. Baldock to hit it. Warm the hands of Sells, and there may be more work for him to do here. Knockaert.
I've seen so much Brighton going forward in the first half.
It'll be regarded as their first attempt in Brighton. In the 35th minute of the game. Huddersfield. Sam Baldock, the guilty man.
I did cross my mind to see when that would be attempted with the new rules, and if anyone would actually take it from the actual centre circle.
Sam Baldock's effort.
I'm impressed with the distance that he's got on that. It's a hell of a way.
Here's Knockart. Bong. Kayal is onside. Oh, and Knockart cannot finish it off, and it's Brighton's turn to hit the crossbar at the Gallowgate end. Well, there's uproar because most felt the flag should have gone up against Kayal here.
There's a lot of debate, but it's quite obviously onside.
It's a massive let-off. And it only takes one moment of slackness. Oh, well, Baldock's gone in, sniffing any kind of opportunity to get on the end of the ball. And it's his second yellow card. He is dismissed. And it's now a mountain to climb for Brighton. Jame. Sidwell denied him shooting space, but does concede a free kick. Shelby, and it's perfection! And surely that's victory for Newcastle. Shelby. Might have another crack here. It was certainly worth a try, and Stockdale getting a crucial set of fingertips on it. A little kiss on the post as well on its way behind. Knockart. Oh, and here's a chance for Kayal. Oh, and Sells with his most impressive bit of work of the night.
Well, this is an absolutely stunning save. But look at how much space Kayal's got. What a strong right hand that is from Sells. He's absolutely drilled at him. That's going in the top corner, but look at that.
I think we've got a good team spirit in the squad. I mean, even if you're not playing, you're happy because you're training and things like that. So the gaffer's got us all pulling in one direction, and that's what we need to get out of this league.
Well, I'm not sure what the early panic was about. 3 league wins in a row for Newcastle. No Dwight Gale or Mitrovic in the side as well after suffering from concussion midweek. Shaun, how convincing was that Newcastle performance?
Well, I think it helped as soon as the lad got sent off. It was a convincing performance from Newcastle. We know they're going to be strong this season. It took a little bit of time to get going, which is the Championship for you. But as soon as the man obviously got sent off, they took advantage of that.
Chris, 2 very good goals. Lascelles' header and John Joe Shelby's first goal for Newcastle, but it was worth the wait.
No, definitely. Lascelles, you attacked it well. Great header. I think here, I think Paul's, it's fantastic. He just runs at it. Great leap, and he just guides it into the corner. He got hands to it, so maybe the keeper could do better. With John Joe, they dominated the match. They've got quality through it, but look at that. I played with John Joe, and the quality that he has in training, in games, he's a leader on the pitch. Fantastic talent.
Inch perfect. Sam Baldock, though, you mentioned sent off for a second yellow card. Chris Hughton has said after the match that he thought it was very harsh. Let's take a look back at both the incidents. Do you agree with Chris?
I think both are fairly soft, but with the second incident, you've just got to be careful. You're on a yellow card. I don't think he makes contact. I think the keeper actually kicks him, but you just have to be clever when you're down to obviously when you've had a yellow card already.
Great deal of contact there.
No.
I think the second one is a yellow. I think the first one, the Newcastle player's not going anywhere. There's no advantage to be gained there.
There's more contact in the first one than the second one, though.
No, it's full contact. The legs swung right round there, so there is full contact with the body there.
Was the first red card as well in his career for Sam Baldock, and that brings to an end Brighton's unbeaten run. OK, more of the early pace setters now in a moment. Birmingham against Norwich, but first the leaders going into the weekend, and this certainly took Chris by surprise. Huddersfield.
Yes, Big Chris's tip for relegation. 3 wins and a draw so far for David Wagner, who also appears to have mastered the art of the substitution. Have a look at this. All of his replacements have scored crucial goals, it seems. Casey Palmer scored within a minute of coming on against Brentford on the opening day. Jack Payne's goal to make it 2-1 at Newcastle came 1 minute also after he entered the field. Michael Heffler secured a point at Villa. Guess what? A minute as well after coming on. And Jonathan Hogg, well, he was on the field for an entire 36 minutes before he then scored in stoppage time to beat Barnsley last weekend. Payne and Heffler, by the way, were on the bench today as they face Wolves.
Super subs aren't the Terriers' only source of goals. Summer signings have done their bit too. After Naki Wells hit a post, Rajiv Van La Parra signed permanently from Wolves this summer, made it 7 goals out of Huddersfield's 9 this season to come from new recruits. Casey Palmer might have made that statistic even more impressive. But for once, Huddersfield couldn't hit the target. Going well under Walter Zenga, Wolves were to pose the biggest test yet for the Championship's unlikely leaders. Matthew Doherty was denied as the away side created the better chances in the second half. Defending a 6-game unbeaten run in League and Cup, Zenga felt that Wolves deserved something here. Certainly João Teixeira couldn't have come much closer to rescuing a point. Being a goalkeeper, Danny Ward isn't all that likely to add to Huddersfield's list of goal-scoring signings. But this save from John Dadi Budvarsson was as good as a goal. It meant the Terriers' best start to a season in 64 years. Like David Wagner, they have a real spring in their step.
There are different ways to win the game. Today was a new way that we won a game, different than compared to the other ones, but at the end I take every victory at the moment.
This time last week, Wolves were celebrating victory at Birmingham, and Norwich pitched up at St Andrews, still unbeaten, hoping they'd be next to extend the Blues' long wait for a league success at home. Gary Rowett's men hadn't managed that in 8 attempts since March, but Jacques Magoma's cross found David Davis rising to the occasion. The first sign one of the promotion favourites could be in for a surprise. Norwich boss Alex Neil had never lost an away game in the Championship, and his side looked the likeliest to score next until Clayton Donaldson got into his stride in the second half. Robert Tesher not able to do what appeared to be the easy part. So it was going to come down to Birmingham's leading scorer last season to keep on probing for a second. Donaldson's long legs chopped away by Stephen Whittaker, handing the striker the chance to get off the mark in this campaign. Norwich now in deep trouble with only a quarter of the game left to save themselves. And they were finished off when Birmingham harassed Alex Tete into a loose pass, snapped up by Donaldson. For the first time in 14 second-tier league games on the road, Norwich knew how it felt to head home with nothing.
If you don't get the basics right in football and you don't turn up and compete, you know, I think if you look at the goals, we didn't win a header at the back post, which we should have done. The second one, we gave a silly penalty away, and then the third one, we gave a silly back pass away. So it's all fine and well having the ball, but it's what you do with it that counts, and on both fronts we didn't do enough.
Yes, Birmingham's first home win since March. Norwich, though, who were unbeaten, and we saw it in Alex Neil's face there, they were awful today.
They were, surprisingly so. I think Norwich are going to be very strong this season. They've had a decent start, but Birmingham are very resolute. Gary has done a fantastic job there, and at home, they're strong, they're solid, and Norwich will be extremely disappointed.
I think Gary Rowett last week, he was disappointed with, he said about commitment and passion shown in the right way, and that's exactly what he got today. They were organised, they created chances, and they were clinical.
We could look at how well they took the goals again, but that's no fun. I want to have a look at the one that got away. We've got the perfect guest to talk us through how this one did go in.
Well, Donaldson done fantastic well, great ball. And Tessie, he just gets too much. As you can see, the ball just lifts as it comes into him, but he gets too much contact on it.
Does it not go in?
For
First
me,
viewing, I thought that might go in.
I tell you what, we need to get the camera angles on that, because that's not far away at all.
Not far, is it?
But they have the alert now, don't they? So, no.
Well, it should have got in.
Yeah,
Put it
he should have put it in the back of the net. You know, he'd done everything right, watched it all the way. The ball just lifted as he made good contact, probably too much contact.
I want to give you the opportunity as well to talk about Huddersfield. I know we put you on the spot at the start of the season. We're joking about it. You tipped them possibly as relegation contenders, and here they are, another great win.
Yeah, well, as I say, before the ball's kicked, I looked at the signings they made. A lot of signings. David Wagner, he's doing something very special there. But they've all come in, they've all hit the floor running. And when I came out with this crazy prediction, as I say, I had Jonathan Hogg on the phone after the show on the 6th, and he said to me, he says, we'll be nowhere near it. And I played with him, I trained with him. He's one of the hard players. He demands the best out of it. And when you're in the dressing room and you look around and you know you've got that confidence, you know we've got a real chance. Hearing that from him, I think they could do something special.
Yeah, they've got a swagger.
Chris is a believer now.
I've been changed. Wagner Revolution.
Coming up next, a new derby for County. Highlights of last night's first league meeting between the Rams and their upwardly mobile neighbours, Burton Albion, featuring Shaun Barker here.
And could this goal from Jack Grealish signal an upturn for Aston Villa?
You're watching Football on 5, and our next action takes us to Burton and last night's A38 derby. Well, what else could you call it? Against Derby.
And Burton sprang a bit of a surprise before kick-off, signing the former Derby captain, one Shaun Barker, and including him on the bench. A first ever league meeting between clubs just 12 miles apart, and here's what happened.
Akins with a nice switch to Dyer, looks to accelerate away from Cyrus Christie. Who timed that challenge to perfection, but O'Grady has won it back here for Burton Albion. And now it's Dyer on the first effort, saved by Carson, and then bundled wide. Burton Albion causing Derby County problems.
Well, this is what Burton Albion will do. They play with plenty of width, really positive play. We've seen this all season long from Burton.
Fired in by Lucas Akins, and it's a diving header which finds the back of the net from Jackson Irvine. The dream start to the dream night for Burton Albion.
Oh, Burton this season, this is really the blueprint of what they're trying to do. That is a brilliant ball in, then onrushing midfielders, attacking midfielders can get onto the edge of the 6-yard box. That's what Irvine has done so well in the opening few games of the season. He's not going to miss from there. Scott Carson, not a chance of keeping it out.
This is Chris Martin. Butterfield. Tom Ince. To link up with Martin, and now it's Jacob Butterfield who never needs a second invitation.
Oh, that's a good piece of positioning by John McLaughlin. He does really well just to get the ball out of his feet. And it is moving in the air, but the keeper's always going to save that.
This now is Ince, who's squared up here by McFadden. He's dropped it back into a little bit of space for Chris Martin, who's appealing for handball, but the referee not interested.
He seems to strike, is it possibly the arm of Lucas Akins? He's slightly fortunate to get away with this.
That's McFadden. Derby County keeping the pressure on Burton Albion here. It's Camera, and McLaughlin to make his first real save of the game.
Well, Lloyd Dyer just about does enough here, just gets enough on this ball to take this thing out of the shot.
Derby County have 4 minutes plus additional time to save this. They may be in the same league, but this is a big, big scalp for Burton Albion. Another special night, possibly, if they hang on. It's Hughes!
Opens up nicely for him, he's got a wonderful left foot. Goes for power rather than precision, that's why it's over the bar, not underneath it.
Irvine could well be the match winner. O'Grady, Hollis was in the middle and couldn't connect clearly with it. That would have sealed it.
Oh, that would have been an absolutely wonderful goal. I don't believe that Marcus Harness expected the ball to reach him. There's a couple of big defenders in there, but the ball in from O'Grady was superb.
And And it's the end of the night for Matty Palmer. And Shaun Barker is about to come on. He only started training with the club a couple of weeks ago, and Nigel Clough has signed him up. Derby County fans rising to acclaim their former captain, who was back in professional football. And he now needs to keep his focus, as do the Burton Albion players. Carson is forward here for Derby County. It goes into the mix. Bodies fell to the floor inside the penalty area. Burton Albion have dealt with it. And that could be that. It just keeps getting better and better for Burton Albion. Jackson Irvine, the match winner, with another header. Tonight, they have beaten Derby County.
Great win that for Burton, and Shaun, a great moment for you as well.
Yeah, it was. It was obviously the first time they met in the league. We normally play each other pre-season. So to meet in the Championship is quite a remarkable achievement for Burton Albion, and I thought they thoroughly deserved the victory. They played with intensity. They pressed from the front. They had a big man, Chris O'Grady, up front.
What were you feeling then when you came on?
Just game mode. You know, I was expected to be nervous and emotional. Obviously, I got a fantastic reception from both sets of fans, which was lovely. But it was pure game mode, and I luckily got my head onto the header at the end as well.
And Nigel Clough, I know, has been great for you in your rehabilitation. What did he say to you there before you came on?
Just head the ball. That's all he's ever told me to do. Just head the ball, and luckily I did. But Nigel's been brilliant with me. When I needed some training, I went to Sheffield United and got some 21s games. As soon as I was released from Derby County, and he got the job at Burton, he said, "Come in, get some treatment, see the physio Nick Fenton," and can't ask any more from a manager, and there's very few of them left like him in the game.
It's an incredible amount of time to be out of football, 4.5 years. You must have had some incredible mental strength to come through what must have been some dark moments too.
There was. I think the first 48 hours were the worst, you know, knowing the extent of the injury and how long it's going to take to get back. Me and Chris were talking before about how hard it is just for a week or two. Yeah. Being out of the game, it's tough, but I just saw it as an opportunity and a challenge to kind of face head on, and I've actually really enjoyed it. It's a strange thing to say, but I've enjoyed the 4.5 years working back to play professional football, and to get that moment last night was an honour and a privilege.
What about Derby, Chris? What's going on with the Rams? Just one win, just one goal in their opening 5 games. It's the fewest they've ever scored in their opening 5 games.
Yes, it must be very worrying for Nigel Pearson. 1 goal in 54 attempts on goal. It's bizarre, you know, with the standard the strikers got there. Chris Martin, Darren Bent, you know, obviously in behind as well. Russell, you know, it's quality throughout. Obviously, there's little whispers who they're trying to bring in. For me, it's not a striker. They've got that there. It's about service. You know, I think last night it was fight balls. The service that Martin got. You know, I was watching it thinking, what else can you do with it? You know, I think they need someone in there that can create, that can put the quality into the box for Martin, and it's play football. They do play football. They had a lot of the ball last night without creating anything.
Well, fans have been very frustrated with the lack of attacking threat and transfer activity, but there is movement. Football League paper this evening saying Ramray, they've paid £8 million for Matteo Vydra from Watford. Also linked as well with Anthony Codger, but that's not confirmed at the moment. Talk of about £14 million for him. Are they the sort of signings they need? Will fans be happy with that business? The
fans will be happy. I played with Vydra, a fantastic player, scored a lot of goals in the Championship. Him and Dini partnership was unbelievable. But like I said, I feel that they'll bring goals. Matty can score goals, make them himself, but they need that quality player that can get the ball down and make them tick.
Right, 2 more games now, starting with Blackburn Rovers, who earned the unhappy record, you would say, of being the only Championship side without a victory.
Yeah, today they welcomed Fulham to an Ewood Park where discontent has again reared its head.
The League Cup has been a welcome distraction for Blackburn, who are the only team in the division without a league win. Championship goals have been in short supply too, although not for the want of Danny Graham's trying. It's been a different story for unbeaten Fulham, full of confidence, with new signing Neeskins Cabano keen to make an impression on his debut. Jason Steele riding to Rovers' rescue. A year ago, it took Rovers 8 matches to record their first league win, and a familiar pattern was emerging here too. Graham just unable to find a way past David Burton. Hope Akpan had been on target for Blackburn against Crewe in midweek, but despite all their home pressure, he just couldn't recapture that goal-scoring touch. And that, coupled with the defensive problems that have haunted them all season, returned to cost them dear. Gordon Greer was caught in two minds, and there was former Blackburn man Tom Cairney to make them pay in injury time. Happiness in short supply all round in this corner of Lancashire.
We obviously have to make sure that we try and find funds available to go and out with the loans and the bondsmen, add one or two players that can certainly help us moving forward. But we've shown today that we can be a very good team. We've just got to continue working hard the longer the group play together.
Back of us is great start, and in front of us is 41 game more. At the end we didn't do nothing important at the moment.
The last time Aston Villa went to Bristol City was a 1982 FA Cup game. Peter Withe and Gordon Cowans among the names on the team sheet that day. Of the current crop, maybe Jack Grealish will one day occupy legend status. This volley was a second goal in 4 games. But this was very much the Villa of 2016. Bad habits soon resurfaced. Leandro Bacuna one of several to miss chances. As ever, it came at a cost. Bristol City levelled when Pierluigi Gallini parried straight to Tammy Abraham, who nabbed his 6th goal in 7 League and Cup games. That was the cue for a Villa collapse. 2 minutes later, Joe Bryan put the Robins ahead and on course for a 3rd win of the season. So despite the best efforts of Grealish and co, it's now 385 days since Villa last won a league game on the road. Lee Tomlin's free kick confirmed victory for Bristol City, who, unlike Villa, have no need to live in the past.
I'm trying to bring an identity and a philosophy into the group. There's a lot of new players, so it's going to take time. We'll only get better, that's for sure. But I want to make sure that when I put a Bristol City team out, it plays to the standards that Bristol City require, and also my pitch personality. And I think that's important, that my personality and my staff's personality must be portrayed by the players' performance. And the first half we fell well short, and second half, like I say, they exceeded my expectations.
So Fulham's unbeaten run continues, but a 4th defeat for Blackburn, their worst start at this level for 65 years. More misery for the fans. What's your thoughts, Shaun, on the way Blackburn is being run and what the fans there are going through?
You've kind of seen this coming over the last few years. It's been a slippery slope. Obviously, it wasn't too long ago they're in the Premier League, winning the top division, and it's sad to see a club like that in the situation it's in. And at the start of the season, they were one of my favourites to go down. I've seen them over the last few years, and you kind of just worry for them. And, you know, something's got to change at the club. There's only one way it's going, and this, obviously the start of the season, extremely disappointing. And it's a sucker punch there in the last minute today.
Aston Villa completely dominated the first half in their match, Chris, but what a comeback for Bristol City today.
Yeah, well, it's not the first time, you know, the opening game of the season against Wigan, they come back. He puts so much... he demands so much from his team. You know, he's very thorough in what he does. I played with Lee, I've done my badges with Lee, and he's very meticulous in everything that he does. He speaks to the players, he improves them individually to make them better, but as a unit as well. And he's got them firing and they're scoring goals. You know, and they
without
go right
Jonathan Codger in the squad today as well.
Exactly, it just shows you the strength they have in depth.
Always gives a good, honest interview as well, doesn't he, Lee, after the game? That was good to hear from him. Stay with us. Next up, highlights from the Cardiff City Stadium as Reading made the trip to South Wales.
And action from the City ground as Leeds United look to put their poor start behind them at Forest.
Welcome back. This is Football on 5, and Reading were hoping to build on last week's draw with Brighton. That was notable, I guess, for Joey van den Berg, inadvertently helping the opposition score before being sent off. A half Shane Duffy, perhaps you could call it.
For today's trip to Cardiff, the lively Dutchman was welcomed back into the fold by his manager, compatriot Jaap Stam.
Blackett's header. Immers. Pilkington. Telling Kadeem Harris to make a run in behind Blackett. He's got there as well. Terrific cross. And here is Jas Richards coming onto it. And he forces Al-Habsi into a save. He just managed to push it far enough away from goal, Al-Habsi. Cardiff going with a 3-5-2 formation. That is quite rare these days, isn't it? Yapstam talking about that this week and trying to set out his plans in which to counteract it. 15 minutes in, no goals as yet. Here's Immers. The Dutchman finding Whittingham. Now Pilkington trying to get clear of Liam Moore. Terrific cross! And Immers couldn't direct his header on target. What a ball in from Anthony Pilkington. That was delightful. Cardiff finding their feet in this game now. Immers rising for this one. Blackett's able to clear. Behrens quickly on the scene was Peltier. Immers thought about the shot. Tees up Pilkington! And Al-Habsi tips it round the corner. He's been busy, the Reading keeper. Lovely flick from Immers. This is Pilkington getting clear of McShane. He's got support arriving. It's Joe Rawls. Well, he had men in the middle to aim for. Went for glory. He has got a corner from it. Whittingham clips it in. Free header for Morrison and wide. Totally unmarked. Well, that will be a concern for Yapstam. Big centre-half, left all alone inside the penalty area. McCleary sends it over. Oh, sliced up in the air by Connolly. Oh, and Wilson's dropped it. McCleary onto it. It should be a tap-in for Behrens. How on earth has he not scored? How on earth has Behrens not scored for Reading? It was there on a plate for him. McCleary's cross, sliced up in the air by Connolly. Wilson under pressure from Kermigan, just didn't grab hold of it. And it drops kindly into the path of Roy Behrens, who should have smashed it into the net. McCleary up against Iwelumo. Sends it over, not a bad-looking ball. It's a terrific header, actually, from Connolly. This is Williams, though, for Reading. It's Williams! Wilson was diving to his right. Wide in the end from Danny Williams. Stephen Quinn. Now McCleary. What can he do with this? Kermigan making a run into the box. Manga tries to halt his run. Here's Behrens. Chance to set his sights. And it goes off Morrison. Reading corner. We move into the last 10 minutes. Well, they've thrown plenty up for this, Reading. Plenty of fluorescent shirts in the middle. Driven in by McCleary. Free header for Kermigan. Just wide of angle of post and bar. Gareth McCleary. Now a chance for a beaters across. Sends it into the middle, breaks here for Kermigan! Reading steal it with a minute left. Jan Kermigan surely has won the game for Reading and might just have given Yapstam his first away win in the Championship. Chances at a premium today, especially for the Royals. But Jan Kermigan took one touch and then buried it with his second to beat Ben Wilson. And Cardiff might just be beaten.
A couple of times first half they got dangerous in front of our box, but I think throughout the game, if you look at the second half as well, we controlled the game, created good chances, should have scored I think earlier, didn't do that, but eventually we got the 3 points, so we're very happy with that.
Well, Reading were the first away win, but leaving it very late. Jan Kermigan. But Chris shouldn't have even been given the chance, should he?
No, not at all. It should be cleared here. Paul Trott will be... Look at the great first touch, but second touch, to get a shot away, Paul Trott needs his defence to get in his face there. But Jordan Beater's cross should be cleared from the first man there. You know, right there, it should be cleared. But great first touch, but defence got to get in his face and stop that shot.
Cardiff played well in a couple of halves so far this season, but haven't really been able to do it over 90 minutes yet, Shaun.
No, it's obviously early days, but you need to hit the ground running at the start of this season. It's so important, the first 5 or 6 games. I think Cardiff will be OK and they'll be in the top of the table, but it's so competitive in this league. You literally can't tell who's going to play and who's going to finish in certain positions at this moment.
OK, well, we've got highlights of 2 more games for you now. 18 goals in 4 matches at one end or the other means there's rarely a dull moment at Nottingham Forest these days.
No, and rarely a dull moment, also a phrase that always, you would say, applies to Leeds United. These two met today at the City Ground.
Manager Philippe Montagnier rated Leeds as Forest's most dangerous opponent so far. If Paitim Kasami's strike was good for the nerves, the home side had to remember scoring hadn't really been the problem in the 2 previous home games, which they edged by 4 goals to 3. Damien Pakis doubled the advantage after the break. But following back-to-back wins in League and Cup, Leeds were not going quietly. Youngster Calvin Phillips showing why he's highly rated at United to send a shiver around the City Ground. This time, though, they need not have worried. Forest's own rising star, Oliver Burke, rounded off this success deep into stoppage time. The fans will hope that's not just a parting gift from the 19-year-old who has a string of Premier League suitors.
I'm very happy because I'm a little afraid before this game because I think Leeds is a very tough team to play at home. They want to... 2 games away. It was a tough games for that. We are very enjoyable this victory, and but it's really hard at the end.
You know, from the 46th minute, they were wasting time. So they obviously felt that 1-0 was, you know, a scoreline for them to hold on to, and we started to push. We looked likely, and but you can't afford to make individual mistakes like that and put yourself in an uphill battle to get back into the game, and ultimately that's what cost us.
This was Rotherham's first trip to Oakwell for 11 years, and they won't be in any hurry to return. Conor Hourihane firing a warning that this would be a torrid South Yorkshire derby for the Millers. In fairness, Barnsley's opener won't win many marks for artistic impression, but Mark Roberts will tell you they all count, especially when it's only the 2nd league goal of your career. Barnsley are enjoying life on their return to the Championship, and former Rotherham man Adam Hamill enjoyed scoring against his old club. Deflection or not. Having lost their previous 2 away games 3-0, Rotherham were heading for the worst defensive record in the division, and Tom Bradshaw's first goal for the Tykes helped them on their way. A thoroughly miserable afternoon for Rotherham was complete in injury time as 19-year-old Ryan Kent wrapped up another impressive Barnsley victory, and you might forgive 1 or 2 for getting a little bit too carried away.
At half-time, we didn't change anything. We wanted to play the same way, but just demanded and asked for a little bit more quality and tempo. We did that, and then the goals changed the games.
Certainly did. A lot of goals as well. 6 years, Chris, the last time they won their first 3 home matches. They're loving life back at this level.
Yeah, they're flying high. You know, they've carried that momentum on. You come up through the playoffs, and they've got quality there. You know, Sam Minnow came back today as well. That's a massive plus for me. Never got on the goal sheet, which you'll be devastated about. But they're scoring goals, they're creating chances, and like you say, they have quality and depth there. And you know what? They believe in their manager. You know, they take on board everything he's saying, and they try and implement it into the games.
Another goal for Oliver Burke at Nottingham Forest, but Gary Monk again having to give an interview after a defeat. He'll be, well, we know he's under pressure. It's the nature of the job at Leeds, but he said they were poor in the first third and the final third, which that doesn't bode well, does it?
It doesn't, no. It's a massive club, Leeds, as is Nottingham Forest, and you know, he's got a tough job on his hands at Leeds United. Nottingham Forest, obviously with Burke, I think he's been the pick-out player for me this season so far. He played on the right wing, we played 3 at the back at Burton, and he just cheated in that awkward position, and his pace and power, it wouldn't surprise me if the top clubs came in for him.
Yeah, he looks a heck of a player.
Just have to keep him past Wednesday, don't they? OK, stay with us for more action from the Sky Bet Championship.
The Ipswich boss, Mick McCarthy, certainly vented some strong feelings about some of the club's fans last week. Could his players put a smile on his face against Preston today?
Welcome back to Football on 5. Now, Ipswich manager Mick McCarthy had his say on some of the club's fans last week. George and Chris can remind us of his outburst. Bleep machine at the ready.
He's always great value, isn't he, Mick? So if you missed it, here's what Mick McCarthy said. Look, I get sick to death by this. We play one bad half and we can't play, and the manager can't play. We've got Preston on Saturday, and because they've not had a great start, everyone will be expecting us to win after that. We'll all be great guys again. Do me a favour, let's all be consistent about it. It really does irk me, that. Up and down like a fiddler's elbow. How will his elbow be tonight? How will his mood be tonight?
No, we'll understand his frustration. You know, I think Mick knows better than any of us how fickle fans can be. I think he's done this, he's put himself in the focal point, take a little bit of the hostility towards himself because he knows he can handle it. He'll be happy with today. It was a very professional performance. You know, Kevin Brewer with the cross here puts it in. I've got to say, Simon Grayson, it's got to be defended better. Look at Grant Ward onto it and look at this composure. What a finish. Just fuels it into the corner.
Why doesn't the keeper move?
Well, there's a lot of bodies in front of him there, but his 4th goal of the season, and he's yeah, I'm happy with it. Again, the 3 forwards link up. Brett Pittman here puts it around the corner for Freddie Seals. Gets a little bit lucky here with the rebounds, but he'll be disappointed that he doesn't hit the target. Anders Lindart does get a hand to it, but I don't think it was going in anyway. Now, yeah, Jermaine Beckford, he went off after 14 minutes. And this is Callum Robinson, young lad. I've got to say I was impressed with him. His movement, he's very direct. He's got good strength, stays on his feet here, and he has one thing in his mind, just to get that shot away. And he asked that question. You know, I was very impressed with him. But Simon Grayson must think, you know, attacking-wise, we're a little bit light. Mick McCarthy will be pulling his hair out here. You know, it's Jonas Knudsen from here, and it's Chris Humphreys. He's coming in. He just comes into the box, and Christoph Berra comes and makes that block. That's far too easy.
Almost walks it in.
Yeah, he almost walks it in. If Christoph Berra's not there, then that's an attempt on goal. Again, poor defending here from Simon Grayson's team. You know, second ball, Skuse picks it up here, gives it into Grant Ward. Luke Valley's round the outside. But look at this, slipping. Grant Ward runs right through. Any more experience, he just passes it to Luke Valley to pass it into the empty net. But as he's done it all, but Mick will be very happy, very professional performance today.
He also told us afterwards Daryl Murphy had put in a transfer request. This is Mick McCarthy. And he also revealed where he's going. Here's what he had to say.
He's been a really good player. Newcastle are getting a really good player. But, you know, he's asked to move. And if that's the case, then if they don't want to be here, players, there's not really a lot I'm going to do to try and stop that.
So he's off. What kind of signing for Newcastle?
That's a fantastic signing. You know, he leads the line, he links up well, he scores goals, and now for a big man, he's mobile as well. So that's a fantastic signing.
There you go, Lynsey. He's made a few dodgy predictions as big Chris.
I'm not sure I can take his word for it.
You.
That's the thing. We will see. OK, 2 more games to show you from the Championship, starting with Wigan against Queen's Park Rangers.
Wigan put the ball in the net twice in the first half against QPR, but an offside flag and a foul meant Rangers had the first effort that counted. Neda Manua capitalising superbly on some more defending that will drive Wigan boss Gary Caldwell mad after his side shipped 4 at Forest last week. He says the Latics badly need reinforcements now they've stepped up a level. Luke Garbett tried to inspire a comeback, only to find the agile Alex Smithies in the way. QPR's away form let them down last season, but this time around it's 6 points from 9 on the road so far, even managing to extinguish the threat from Will Grigg en route to victory.
When you're coming here to Wigan, with all respect to them, you know you're going to be in a game. You know you have to defend, and you know that you're going to be in trouble at times. And I think we've done that really well as a unit, as a team.
Neither of these two were involved in League Cup action this week, and Sheffield Wednesday looked lively, although Lucas João was half asleep when opportunity knocked. There was also nothing to spare the blushes of Wednesday keeper Kieran Westwood when he wanted a little too much time, while Lassie Vibe just wanted to score his first goal of the season, and he wasn't too fussy how. Bad then became worse when David Jones was sent off on his first start for the club. Too much talking for the referee's liking, and a second yellow card ended his contribution. But the showers in the home dressing room at Griffin Park would also have an early visitor. Vibe pursuing Forestieri a little too vigorously and also paying the price with a second yellow card. Mind you, with just 2 minutes to go, Brentford must have fancied their chances of holding on for a third home win of the season, but they couldn't. 3 minutes into injury time, Sam Hutchinson chose the perfect moment to pop up with his first goal of the season.
My team back again, my team back with a big soul, with a big heart. The fans was with us all the time. At the end, when we finished the game, the reaction of them and our reaction is a big example that we back again, and I believe that it's a start to us at this point.
Well, a couple of howlers in that one, started with Kieran Westwood there at the beginning. But, Shaun, what about that Lucas João miss? How does he put that over?
I just don't think he was expecting it. It's, you know, it's coming to the box. It's kind of a lazy finish. He's almost let it hit his left foot, and yeah, I don't think he'll be sleeping tonight.
Saved by the offside flag there, Chris. It's harder to miss, isn't it?
Well, yeah, we've all been there, you know, but yeah, I think he's just got to make sure he focuses on the ball, and like you say, it was a bit lazy. Just make sure you make good contact.
Right, shall we have a look at the table? Huddersfield still unbeaten. They remain top of the pile. Here we are, 2 points clear. They are of Fulham, who are also yet to lose. Great start for them. At Barnsley, Newcastle, QPR, Bristol City and Forest, all 2 points further back.
And at the other end of the table, Blackburn stay bottom. Preston and Rotherham continue to occupy the other 2 relegation spots, while it's only goal difference, keeping Leeds and Wigan out of the bottom 3. But Blackburn rock bottom there. Do you see Blackburn going the way of Bolton, Chris?
Yeah, I think until it's so hard for Owen Coyle there. I feel that there's so many things going on above his head that he has no power in. How can they expect him to focus on what's going on in the pitch? It's, like I said, it's a little bit of a circus. So until that gets sorted out, then I feel it's slippery slope time.
Do you think it is job safe?
I think it's tough. You know, we've seen how the owners deal with things at that club, and I'm sure if he has a couple of bad results, he'll be worrying about his job.
OK, well, stay with us. For Goal Rush from Sky Bet Leagues 1 and 2, could Bolton Wanderers protect their perfect start to life in the 3rd tier?
Welcome to Goal Rush on Football on 5, which begins in Sky Bet League 1.
Yes, it does. Bolton left it late to keep the EFL's only 100% record going last weekend. But today they face maybe their toughest test so far, travelling to the Valley to take on a Charlton side who had won 2 on the bounce.
It's Bolton's best start to a season in 82 years as Phil Parkinson took his side to the Valley for the first time since he was sacked as manager in 2011. But it was Charlton who made the early running, Nicky Josie almost putting them in front. Bolton only managed 5 wins in all of last season. They took the lead here when Gary Medine scored his 2nd in a week. Were the Trotters about to make it 5 wins before the end of August? Well, no, but they were only denied an injury time, and thanks to this strike from 18-year-old Ademola Lookman, Bolton's 100% record is gone, but they stay top of the league.
We actually created the better opportunities. And with a better team overall, I'm sure Parky will agree with that. I hope he does. If he doesn't, I don't care.
3 wins and a draw from their opening 4 league games saw Scunthorpe travel to Port Vale 2nd in League 1. But they were behind shortly after the half hour. Anton Forrester's break and finish, putting the home side ahead. Vale too have made a decent start to the new campaign, their only defeat and only previous goal conceded coming last time out against Swindon. They were pegged back though in first half stoppage time, when a free kick from Josh Morris went straight in. 5 goals in 5 League 1 games now for the man who joined in the summer from Bradford. But Scunthorpe's chances of victory were hit by a double blow in the opening 10 minutes of the second half. Alex Jones' volley put the hosts back in front just 4 minutes after the restart. Then Jordan Clark picked up a second booking for this grab at Anthony Grant, and Scunthorpe were down to 10 men. Referee Brendan Malone also sent their manager, Graham Alexander, to the stands in the aftermath. Jones's second 6 minutes from time wrapped things up. A memorable day for the 21-year-old on loan from Birmingham, and 3 home wins out of 3 for Port Vale.
I'm very happy here with my group, with my family. You know, this is our family, and we work every day for this. Coming here on Saturday and do our best and try to win the games.
3 straight wins and an unbeaten start for Bradford, but the Bantams' feel-good factor was tested by early scoring success for Oldham. With 5 on the watch, Mark Clock with good work from a set piece. His free kick converted by skipper Peter Clark. The 34-year-old central defender opening his Latics account. That's his team's second goal of the season, the first scored by one of their players. The other had been an own goal. Mark Marshall was denied a leveller by keeper Conor Ripley. Bradford had emerged triumphant in the previous 3 meetings between these two, and they restored parity early in the second half. Josh Cullen was brought down rather clumsily by Ousmane Fane in the box. And Billy Clark, who scored 2 goals in a triumph over Oldham in March last year, was at it again, this time from the spot.
Millwall yet to register an away win in the league this campaign. They almost took the lead in the opening 90 seconds when Shaun Williams took advantage of John Nolan's fluffed clearance. Neil Harris's side had had the busier week, knocked out of the EFL Cup by Nottingham Forest, but no sign of tired legs in this great team goal, Shane Ferguson opening his account. Last season was one of Millwall's most prolific in terms of away goals, and Steve Morrison's playing a major part in repeating that this campaign. First with that fine finish, and then 3 minutes later he'd have his second and Millwall's third with this exquisite lob. The Chesterfield defence, the one that was hobbled. The Spyrites pulled one back in the second half through a Sam Hurd header, but not enough to deny Millwall their first 3 points on the road this season.
MK Dons' search for a first home win of the campaign was undermined after only 2 minutes when Peterborough's Andrew Hughes struck the opening goal. Having won the initial free kick, Hughes was in the perfect position to convert Marcus Maddison's delivery. The visitors' last visit to Stadium MK had ended in a 3-0 defeat and the dismissal of manager Darren Ferguson, but they preserved a clean sheet in this one, defender Joe Walsh going closest for the home side before half-time. And they sealed victory with just under 20 minutes to go, thanks to this header by Michael Bostwick, leapfrogging their opponents to go 7th in the table.
It turned into a wet country derby for Swindon and Bristol Rovers at the county ground. The players taken off just before the hour after torrential rain in Wiltshire. The fans at best drowned rats, at worst extras from Titanic. Referee Oliver Langford had no option but to abandon the game.
Gotta love the summer, haven't you? Bolton, guys, first of all, OK, they're 100% record goes, but they remain top unbeaten. Some news coming out of that tonight. Mark Davis was stretchered off today with what's been confirmed as another bad knee injury. Phil Parkinson has told us it's very serious, something that you'll be able to sympathise with a great deal.
Yeah, it's tough. You know, he'll have a couple of days where he'll be extremely down and the club will be disappointed to lose him. But he's got to be positive and face it as a challenge. He'll come back stronger.
How have you stayed positive? Because 4.5 years till your first competitive appearance for Burton last night.
Don't have a choice. You really don't. It's how you attack it, how you cope. You have people around you, hopefully making a big difference as well. And for me, like I said, I saw it as a challenge. He's got to do the same. We see so many injuries these days with ACLs, injuries that you see regularly in football, and every player seems to come back stronger and fitter for it.
What's your knee made of now? Because you basically just snapped the entire thing, didn't you? Take a bit of your hamstring and shove it around the other side?
Both hamstrings were cut open. I've got synthetic down the medial side. The rest was just stitched together. Amazing what medical science can do and the surgeons can do these days.
That feels all right.
All right.
We can take inspiration from you, that is for sure. OK, we've got 2 ways that we can look at Northampton's season so far. Either they're unbeaten in their first 4 league games, or they just haven't won yet.
Or both. 4 games, 4 draws so far for the Cobblers, who today travelled to their former tenants, Coventry City, themselves looking for a first win.
They may have knocked West Brom out of the EFL Cup in midweek, but Northampton travelled to Coventry still searching for a first win in League One. Harry Buteman's first goal for the club after a summer move from Peterborough looked like setting them on the way, particularly given Coventry's lacklustre start to the season. The hosts had managed only one league goal so far, but they doubled that tally when Marcus Tudgay flicked in just past the hour. The first league goal fans here had been able to celebrate.
God, there was 3 or 4 times today that it looked like it was a certain goal, and yet it wasn't. We either hit the goalkeeper, or keeper made a save, or we missed the target. But we played generally pretty well today, I'd have to say.
Kids were in for a quid at Bramall Lane. That seemed expensive amid the Blades' worst start in 21 years. Their plight was exacerbated by striker Kane Hemmings. He had a ratio of better than 1 in every 2 games for Dundee and Scotland, and now has 2 for the U's. With a mini-crisis looming, time for a man who totalled 21 goals in the 2015-2016 campaign to step up. Billy Sharp with a typical finish to bag the equaliser. The mood changed, and the match clincher came from a less likely source. Summer signing James Wilson with his first United goal, and a first win for former Oxford boss Chris Wilder.
Both these clubs were looking for their first win since the opening day of the season. And this would turn out to be a showcase of attacking football. Kieran Morris putting the Saddlers in front with his second in as many games. Not so much of a defensive masterclass, though. This mistake led to Walsall doubling their lead less than 10 minutes later. Erhan Oztumer fully fit after a back injury with his second for his new club. Having scored 1 goal in their last 4 games in League and Cup, Walsall were rewarded for dominating the first half when another summer signing, Simeon Jackson, sent them into the break 3-0 up. A Bury fight back was unlikely when you consider they hadn't scored more than 1 league goal on the road since last September. It didn't take Leon Barnett long, hammering home 2 minutes after the break. And 2 minutes after that, they'd pulled another one back. Barnett again involved with the knockdown. James Vaughan, signed this week and without a goal since the season before last, finally on the score sheet. A survey this week found Walsall to be one of the most miserable places in the country. And after blowing a 3-goal lead, you can see why. But there was no wiping the smile off Danny Mayer's face after he finished off Bury's magnificent second-half comeback.
Having defeated Watford in the week, maybe Gillingham were overconfident at Shrewsbury. That certainly changed when Lewis Dodds curled one past New Gillingham keeper Jonathan Bond. On loan from Reading, Bond was given a licence to Gill on Friday, and within 30 minutes of his debut, he'd been picking the ball out of the net twice. Dodds once again doing the damage for the home side. But this is a Gillingham team that in midweek could afford to give Premier League opposition a goal start and still prevail. Maybe Justin Edinburgh reminded them of that at half-time, because the second 45 was much more like it from the away side. J. Emmanuel Thomas halving the deficit just before the hour mark. On loan from QPR, JET is absolutely flying for the Gills. His 5th goal in 7 League and Cup games was a showstopper. Against Watford, Gillingham needed extra time to complete their comeback. Here they did it in stoppage time. 93 minutes on the clock when Max Amer broke Shrewsbury hearts as Gillingham won it the hard way once again.
Slim pickings for Southend fans at Roots Hall, where it's coming up to 5 months since they last saw their team win. And the prospects of changing that receded dramatically when Chris Long's first Fleetwood goal gave the Cod Army every prospect of a rare away victory. They'd won just once on the road since October last year, but Ash Hunter slipped in a second to make this success safe. Pressure is mounting for Southend's Phil Brown, whereas Fleetwood fans are liking what they've seen from Uwe Rosler.
With both sides looking for their first league win of the season, it was the visitors who got the best possible start. Chris Whelpdale finding Andy Barcham with bags of time and space after just 12 minutes. And Wimbledon hopes of all 3 points rose even higher when Callum Camps made an over-enthusiastic at best challenge on Jake Reeves, and referee Chris Sarginson wasted little time in showing him an early bath. But Rochdale struck deep at injury time to rescue a point. Jamie Allen got the credit, although Wimbledon keeper Ryan Clark might have had the final touch. A draw consigns Wimbledon to the foot of the table, with Rochdale just above them.
So a first win for Sheffield United after going a goal down against Chris Wilder's former side as well. Chris, do you feel that could be a turning point now for the Blades?
Well, they needed it.
Yeah, I think so. You know, he's asked his players to stand up and be counted, and that's exactly what they've done. They showed great character to come from behind, and yeah, and it just kick-starts the season. You know, there's some big players there. Billy, obviously, Sharp. You can score goals for fun in that league, so hopefully they can kick on now.
Well, that first win of the season for the Blades sees them move off the bottom of the league and up to 20th. AFC Wimbledon have replaced Sheffield United at the foot of the table. They're level on points with Rochdale, the side they drew with today. Coventry are a point better off, and Shrewsbury complete the bottom four.
Here's the end you want to be in. Bolton may have lost that 100% record, but they're still top of the pile. 2 points clear of Bradford, who are second. Scunthorpe, Vale, Millwall, Gillingham all have 10 points from their opening 5 games.
Stay with us for all the League Two action. That's coming up next, including a Lancashire derby, which had it all going on. This is Goal Rush on Football on 5, and we're in Sky Bet League 2.
Accrington Stanley produced the story of the EFL Cup during the week. Matty Pearson with this in the 120th minute to win it against Burnley and spark the sort of scenes you'd expect when it's the first time the town's teams had met in 123 years. This afternoon, John Coleman's side took on Morecambe, who, despite starting the season as one of the favourites for relegation, began the day top of the table.
Accrington was abuzz with the feel-good factor ahead of this one, and that positivity initially continued with some scoring glee for Billy Key. Last season's top marksman hadn't found the net in 11, his longest run for Stanley without a goal, but he registered twice in 7 minutes here. Then the turning point. Former Morecambe skipper Mark Hughes was sent off for the home side as he denied Cole Stockton a scoring chance. Stockton, who was on target in midweek against Bournemouth in the EFL Cup, reduced the deficit as half-time approached. Straight after the interval, Jim Bentley's outfit were level thanks to Kevin Ellison's third of the season. And Tranmere loanee Stockton fired in his second and his team's third to earn the Shrimps a 4th straight maximum and keep them top of the table.
Dermot Drummy has been having his Crawley side watch videos of Alessandro Del Piero to inspire them in front of goal. Enzio Boldvine was clearly paying attention as he gave them the lead. Perhaps the odd DVD on Catenaccio might also be in order, though, as just 5 minutes later, Notts County profited from a poor defensive clearance, and then James Collins put the ball in his own net. The Magpies had only previously managed 1 goal at this ground. They had their second of this match on the hour through Adam Campbell, his first since February. And 3 points were assured for John Sheridan's side when Andre Blackman decided to handle the ball when he thought he'd been fouled. John Stead would strike home his 4th in as many games to end Crawley's unbeaten run and give Notts County back-to-back wins.
Games between Cambridge and Luton never lack atmosphere, but goals were missing until the 62nd minute. Glenn Ray's header credited as an own goal by Josh Coulson. Cambridge barely had time to compose themselves before they were 2-0 down moments later. And this one from Jack Marriott was once a saver for the visiting fans and the man himself. Cambridge on the way to a first home league defeat. While Sean Derry looks to gel together a host of new players, Luton looked purposeful, and Danny Hilton's goal in the 6th minute of stoppage time meant they'd managed 3 on the road for the 2nd time this season.
Orient Mansfield and the very definition of a tangle of legs here. Christian Pearce and Yvonne Erishow tied in knots. A penalty to the Stags. Matt Green went for the Simone Zaza approach, with similar results. But that miss wasn't to prove costly. Adam Murray called this the perfect away performance from Mansfield, for whom Mitch Rose grabbed the opener. The O's cancelled that one out pretty quickly. Liam Kelly's first for the East Londoners, arriving inside 5 minutes. But Green was to have the final say. His 89th minute winner takes the Stags into the upper reaches of the table. No wonder they're so keen to hang on to him.
Wycombe-Colchester might not be an obvious derby, but there's a fierce rivalry between these clubs dating back to non-league days. So Chris Porter's second-half goal was a real kick in the teeth for Wycombe, who are struggling to get going this season. Porter's influential for the U's, to say the least, later providing the 5th assist of his last 6 league matches. And Sami Šmodić sent Colchester on the 100-mile journey home very happy indeed.
There's nothing like a goal in the opening minute to set the tone, and that's what Doncaster produced. Andy Williams reacting quickest to the football ping-pong to make a dream start against his former club. There was an impressive crispness about everything the home side did, underlined by the finish of James Coppinger, that his second goal of the season. By contrast, Yeovil hadn't managed a goal at all in their previous 2 league outings, so in terms of positives, Ryan Hedges' effort on 55 minutes did at least end that mini drought. But any hopes of a comeback disappeared shortly afterwards, when Beavis Mugabe lost his bearings, and then the battle with Williams. And although he won the wrestling match, he didn't win the argument with referee Michael Salisbury, who sent him on his way with a second yellow card. Doncaster had been hard enough to contain when it was 11 against 11, but with a man advantage they looked rampant, and Williams was able to pick his spot as goal number 3 of the season found its mark. And there was still time for Yeovil's tormentor-in-chief to snaffle the match ball, this time a header wrapping up his hat-trick. Yeovil have conceded 9 goals in the last week, plenty for them to ponder on the long journey home.
So Morecambe stay top. Quite a game, Chris, that one.
Crazy.
Okay, the red card, absolutely key.
Yeah.
But scoring 3 goals in 12 minutes takes belief and a lot of graft.
No, well, I think Jim Bentley is a bit of a club legend. You know, he's, like, see, Accrington were completely in control of the match. You know, fantastic strike, but you know, Mark Hughes, the red card, there's no need for him to do that and give the advantage to Morecambe, but Jim Bentley's got them well drilled, and they performed in the clinical.
Cole Stockton scoring goals. Can they stay up there, and if so, for how long?
Yeah, why not? You know, I think he goes out there, he has the belief, he puts the belief into the players, and they feel that they can go on and do that.
It's a cliche, isn't it? Winning breeds winning, and if you know you're winning, you just keep winning. But it's true. It is,
yeah. It's just confidence, you know. He's done a fantastic job there. I'm sure that most people weren't expecting to be where they are at the moment, but when you're winning, when the team's all performing together, and when you're coming from 2 goals back, whether you've had a man sent off or not, the opposition, to go and get 3 goals so quickly, it's a perfect game for him.
Right, let's go to the Hive next. Again, this between 2 sides, level on points, and both still unbeaten. Yeah,
Barnet were probably feeling the pressure of the 2, though. Their opponents, Carlisle, lost a penalty shootout against Derby in the EFL Cup in midweek. That took 32 spot kicks to be decided, equalling the record for the longest shootout in English football.
Keith Curle admitted he'd have to check his Carlisle players for fatigue after that record-equalling shootout, but the away side made all the running at the Hive, Michael Raines hitting the bar. And Barnet's unbeaten start to the season came to an end when Nicky Adams got on the end of Macaulay Gillespie's long ball to feed last season's top scorer Jabo Aberi for his first of this campaign.
The last time these two met in the Championship in late 2009, they were heading in opposite directions. Blackpool to the Premier League, Plymouth starting the slide to League Two. Together again here, it was Blackpool creating and missing the best chances, like this header from Mark Cullen. The visitors have recovered well from losing their opening 3 matches, and a second goal in 4 games of English football from Latvian defender Noris Bulvitis made it 3 straight wins. Blackpool's hopes of an equaliser weren't helped by the dismissal of Jack Payne with 20 minutes to go, just 6 minutes into his debut for the club. But Armand Nonduye almost conjured one up, only for Gary Miller to brilliantly clear off the line and condemn them to a first home defeat of the season.
Hartlepool's support of the military was recognised before kick-off. Chairman Gary Coxall signed a pledge to promote defence personnel as they became the first English football club to get the Bronze Award from the Armed Forces Covenant Employer Recognition Scheme. That seemed to lift the spirits of the home players. Inside 2 minutes, a skillful chip from Michael Woods, and Nicky Featherstone scored only his second career goal in 245 appearances. It was a frenetic opening to the contest, Hartlepool's Toto Nsiala seeing red for a handball. County sensed an opportunity as they looked for a first ever win at this venue. From the resulting free kick, Shaun Rigg made it 2-2 for him, having scored last weekend. Veteran striker John Parkin had a loan spell with Pools as a youngster, and he superbly found the net here to put the away side 2-1 ahead. The 10 men roared back into it before the break though. Podrick Ammon completed the scoring before half-time.
Grimsby fans saw the most goals of the day, and maybe the individual performance of the weekend. What a day this was for Omar Bogle, whose last goal at Blundell Park had come in January. Here, though, he was irresistible, also claiming the assist for Luke Summerfield as the Mariners made it 2-0. Fraser Franks and the Stevenage back four have had it tough recently. The central defender did restore some respectability to the scoreline as half-time approached, but Borough were to be blown away in the second half. Bogle teeing up Dominic Vose, whose magnificent finish restored the 2-goal cushion. But there was no doubt about the man of the match here. Bogle dancing past more defenders before making it 4-1. Grimsby not looking like a side that had lost 4 games in a row. Borough were able to effect some more damage limitation. Joby McAnuff pulled another one back for Darren Sarle's team. But having been beaten by a Peter Crouch hat-trick in midweek, now it was Bogle's turn. He'd already hit the bar before this free kick earned him the match ball. He could hardly have deserved it more.
The last time these two sides met was the 2012 playoff final that sent Crewe up to League One. But it was Rob Dickey, who rejoined Cheltenham on loan this week, who put the Robins in front. And they had their first win since returning to the Football League when James Dayton capitalised on a Danny Holland mistake, further denting Crewe's hopes of returning to League One at the first time of asking.
Portsmouth left it late to secure the win that lifted them to 8th place in the table. The decisive goal arrived 5 minutes from time from the spot. A contentious decision too, when Piers Sweeney was adjudged to have fouled substitute Cal Naismith. Sweeney was booked for his protest, but Gary Roberts kept his cool to follow up last weekend's match-winning double against Colchester. Exeter remain in the bottom two.
That result sees Portsmouth move up to 8th. Morecambe stay top of the league, 2 points clear of Luton, Doncaster, Colchester and Mansfield.
At the other end of the table, winless Cambridge stay bottom. Exeter are a point better off. Stevenage, Yeovil, Accrington, 1 clear of the drop zone.
Well, that's it from us tonight. Our thanks, as always, go to Chris, and thanks and very best of luck in your second football career to Shaun as well. Just a quick reminder to watch highlights from the 3rd Royal London one-dayer between England and Pakistan. That's at just after midnight, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning.
Right, the focus is on Leagues 1 and 2 next week, so join us for an hour-long goal rush. Until then, we'll leave you with another look at a big night for Barker and Burton. Good night.